Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to the OIC 10 Entrepreneurial Champions Weekly Conference Call. My name is Norm Bond. I'm very happy and honored to serve as your moderator for tonight's call. This call, for those of you who are joining us for the first time, is a fast-moving, empowering, enlightening call of people from across the country. We feature a up-and-coming and even established entrepreneur each week, and we talk about some of the major issues that we need to address in order to really lower unemployment by increasing entrepreneurship. You're going to hear about the OIC Entrepreneurial Mindset Initiative, which really has three phases. One is to create a campaign and an entrepreneurial movement that spreads across the nation. Two is the establishment of an endowment, a record-setting $100 million endowment to support the objectives of the entrepreneurial movement over many generations. And thirdly, you're going to hear about training and micro programs that will allow and enable individuals to learn more about becoming entrepreneurs and further developing their entrepreneurial talents and skills. So we're going to give you a lot in this 30 minutes. You're also going to get to hear, if you have not previously heard about OIC of America, you're going to hear about this legacy organization founded by the Reverend Dr. Leon Sullivan and some of his incredible contributions. You can visit our website to learn more about Reverend Sullivan and about this work at www.oicofamerica.org. You can also Google Reverend Sullivan's name, and you will see some of the tremendous contributions that he has made. You can also look up his book entitled Build, Brother, Build, which is a classic and required reading for you. So as we continue, and without further ado, because every minute here is so precious, I want to move the call over to our Senior Communications Specialist for OIC of America. Her name is Ms. Deborah Scotty Scott, and she is going to conduct also the interview with tonight's guest entrepreneur. So again, we want to thank you for joining us, and I'm going to turn it over to Scotty.
And thank you once again, Norm, and happy Thursday, everyone.
Happy Thursday.
Tonight's guest is on a mission to heighten awareness to an urgent global issue. ANDRE PASCOE, also known as Drematic, is a social entrepreneur who is using his music to deliver a message he hopes that everyone will hear.
Okay, we talk that water. Think it's time to go in directly to ensure that the audience gets me. H2O, that magic mixture, fixture in all things earthly. Who should go thirsty? Easy enough, okay, let's give them all bottles. Corruption with a twist, human rights get toppled. Cause what's the sense in helping others clean and sustain it? You profit when you claim it and drain it. Wrestling with natural commodities, turning into property, polluted foreign policies, proliferating poverty. The third world's tapped out, arid economically, squeezed to the last drop, robbed of their sovereignty. Your watershed statement is kinda heavy, ain't it? When global scale issues get sized up and weighed in, but these are the stories, despicable trends that only our actions can bring to an end. But I still believe together we can change it. We owe it to ourselves to create an oasis. What path will you choose? What you gonna do?
So good evening, Andre.
Good evening.
I said, well, we're so happy to have you with us, particularly today, because yesterday your new music venture, Water, was released. And what was the inspiration behind Water and Project 100?
Well, the idea for Water came about while finishing up a project that I was completing. Called Ultrasound. It was an album I released prior to this. It was myself and an individual named Dalmar Verite, part of a group called Stereotype. At the tail end of that record, I was thinking about what to do for a project of my own, and I was having conversations with peers, just throwing ideas out, and a friend of mine said, what do you think about doing a project about water?
In Ethiopia, a country with a population of 85 million, there are nearly 50 million people that lack access to safe drinking water. With inadequate sanitation and purification systems, people are forced to resort to using contaminated water from remote streams, rivers, and wells. The collection of this water is a daunting task in itself, often requiring individuals to walk hours to secure water. This responsibility is often delegated to women and children.
Water. I was intrigued by it, but all along I wanted to do something that was essential, a piece of music that, that people had to hear. So I kept playing with ideas, and, the idea of water stuck. So, I decided to dig deeper and do some research and, started doing I saw a film called Flow by a director named Irina Salina, and the topic, everything discussed in the film about the shortage of water, the access of it, the fact that water itself is a limited supply, it just fueled me. I was pretty much obsessed with water at that time, and I just started writing, and I guess the result is the album Water, which is a collaboration between myself and producer Arcka. He made every beat on the album, engineered, edited, did everything on the project, and it's really, myself and him, two very different individuals coming together, similar to hydrogen and water coming together to form something new.
Sacrifice my childhood to do it. In search of you, I walk barefooted over distant lands, buckets in my hand, lacking fluids to sustain me, replenishing life. See, what I came across was tainted. Yes, it was tripe. Our lips long for you. Liquefy utopia. We cry for you in Ethiopia, resilient to the end, cause rebellion's in the souls of us. Give all our own just to soak in ya, exfoliate the waste. Desperate living motivates our synergies will procreate, and then the flow rejuvenates my whole body, transcending into realms unseen. You redefine the meaning of having wet dreams. When I awaken, I find myself in school, engaged in activities a normal child would do. In answer to my prayers for so long, I felt forsaken. Mirage, or is it really an oasis? Man, I feel so confused.
A little more about Project 100, because I know that has a lot to do with the music side of it and the video side. But what exactly is Project 100?
Project 100 was born just out of the need to do something tangible and something meaningful with the music. After learning all I did in my research while doing the album, I figured that I had to do something to be a part of the solution. It makes no sense, learning all these things just to sit on information. So Project 100 is our attempt to build 100 freshwater wells in developing nations based off of donations given to purchase the album Water. So, that idea came slowly. Like everything I would say on this project was an organic process. I didn't wake up one day saying to myself, I want to build 100 wells. But, as time progressed and I started, digging deeper, I came to the realization that, this is what needs to be done with this project. This project is a lot more than just a musical endeavor. It has the potential to do so much more. So I'm just going with it and hoping for the best, hoping that people will respond and that we can make a real impact with the music.
Do you ever have a fear that because the message in Water is very powerful, but do you ever feel that the message of your lyrics sometimes might get lost just because people might only be listening to the rhythm of the music?
That's something that I struggle with at times. When in doing my music, I attempt to be as simple as I possibly can without, I guess, no pun intended, watering down the content that I'm trying to transmit. So I make a conscious effort to communicate as clearly as I can. But, sometimes it happens, that you don't penetrate directly every time. I mean, on this particular album, the lyrics are included, so people can follow along if they don't, get it on the first listen. But I'm not too concerned about people not getting it because it's pretty straightforward lyrically.
Okay. Now, most people don't tend to think of music artists as entrepreneurs, but you are in fact promoting an artistic product. But your artistic product obviously has a message as well. So, given your passion for music, what challenges have you faced when you're promoting your music and its special message, not just as an artist, but as a social entrepreneur?
I guess the biggest challenges I would say are the standard ones when it comes to running the business and when it comes to invoking a response from people is just getting people to pay attention, especially in this day and time where there's so many different ways of transmitting information. Social media, people are so distracted. Just getting people's attention is really the biggest obstacle that we have to get over as entrepreneurs. And with this project in particular, I feel that the issue itself is too big to ignore, and I want to be a catalyst for the issue. So, with whatever shortcomings I have with getting people's attention or promotion or anything like that, I feel that it's for the greater good, and ultimately, regardless of what it takes, I will make people listen.
Well, in addition to your music, you also devote a lot of your time to mentoring young African American men, and that's very commendable, obviously. But what message is it that you want these young men to learn from you, and because of what you do?
I think the biggest thing I want to hopefully my example can show and teach is that the possibilities of music, of hip-hop, are limitless. And we could do pretty much whatever we want to do with the music. And I just want to be a representative of my genre of music, of my generation, and just to show black males in particular that we could do what we want to do. We could be much, much greater than the images that we're being bombarded with by the media, by external forces. And I just want to be a representative of possibilities.
Well, and I think with your music, you definitely are. So how can our listeners learn more about Water and Project 100?
The best way to get involved with Water and Project 100 is logging on to our website, waterishumanity.com, or following us on Twitter at waterishumanity. And to donate directly to the campaign, go to our page and click the campaigns button, and it will take you right to our campaign where you can donate. There are different perks, different levels of donation that you could contribute, depending on your level of your level of access. You could donate anywhere from $10 onward up. So we really just we just want to have people donate what they can when they can, and we want to just make an impact. And together we will get these things done.
The GB3 Dam which is being built on the Omo River, supplies 80% of the water in Lake Turkana, which is located on the border of Kenya and Ethiopia. Now on the verge of being completed, the dam threatens the livelihoods of hundreds of thousands of Kenyans that rely on Lake Turkana for fishing and irrigation. To date, the construction of massive dams has displaced more than 2 million people worldwide. Now forced to relocate, to start anew, a father must explain to his son why they must leave the only home they have ever known.
Man, I can't believe what was said, what I asked, what he told me. I said, why must we leave? Why to Nairobi? Son, rest assured, as the day is long, we will endure, we will stay strong. God is supreme, ruler of creation, man is a fool, blind to limitations, careless the few, who knowingly defile the lake, the waters, all that it provides. In the face of brutality, our people have survived, and we will continue to survive. Son, walk tall, and that was all, then his voice dissolved, echo soft in my ears as we all marched on. I was in awe, baffled by his brave resolve. How could he stay calm in a world so wrong? Peace of mind was provided, a break from frustration, dealing with displacement, seeking an oasis. What else can we do?
During a conversation with an acquaintance, recording artist Drematic discusses his outlook on the global implications of the struggle for clean water and the motivation for his forthcoming album entitled Water.
Well, Andre, thank you so much for your time with us this evening. Don't go anywhere because I know our chairman is with us. I know he's going to have a question for you as well. So for now, I'm going to turn it back to Norm.
Wow, thank you, Scotty, and thank you, Andre. What an incredible entrepreneurial mindset. When you heard Andre say, you know, I will make people listen, you know, in spite of the challenges. And as if you're just joining this call, this is the OIC 10 Entrepreneur Champions weekly conference call, where each week you will hear similar mindsets being demonstrated by entrepreneurs of various age categories, various genders that we've had come on, various career paths. But the mindset that we hear demonstrated is consistent, and that's what the OIC Entrepreneurial Mindset Initiative is all about. How do we create this type of mindset across 1 million entrepreneurs, raise $100 million, raise it in a way that we create an endowment that will allow us to fund it in perpetuity, and how do we begin to really basically follow the motto of OIC, which is helping people help themselves. My name is Norm Bond. I'm happy to be the moderator this evening. You heard Scotty mention the chairman, Mr. Art Taylor. You know, his theme is "This thing's going to pop," and you know, he as he's guided us with those words, we see it coming more into fruition every day. So, without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to the chairman, Art Taylor. Art, are you available?
I am. Good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining the call. It's great to be with you. I am just returning home from an exciting board meeting at OIC of America, where the board met to discuss its strategy for the next 3 years. And, of course, central to where we're headed as an organization is this entrepreneurial mindset initiative. Because as we look out into the future, Norm, we recognize that people are going to need all types of alternatives in order to create a viable living for themselves and for their families. They're going to have to consider jobs. They're going to have to consider the proper education. They're certainly going to have to consider going out and starting businesses of their own. And OIC is certainly geared up for that. And we're excited about the future that we are creating for people who need the encouragement and the impetus that we are trying to provide with this initiative. I wanted to ask Andre a question that goes to the core of what we're all about, and that is, for every one person like you who has an idea and moves forward with it, there have got to be 1,000 or more who have ideas but never pursue them.
Mm-hmm.
But somehow you did. What is it about you that is so different than the people who didn't pursue the opportunity?
Well, I'm not sure. I really can't speak for, other people and what qualities they don't possess. But for myself, I just really feel driven to do something significant with my life. I grew up loving music, loving the ability to create and the opportunity to create something. And I really just want to be an asset with what I do. And I think that's the driving force within me that has gotten me to this point to put this project out. There have been a lot of opportunities where I could have not put it out, but, I'm here and I'm glad to be here. And this is really just the beginning for me on this journey to do something great with this water project.
Tell me about some of those things, if you would. Those signposts in the road that said stop, that you nonetheless decided that you would plow through beyond. What were some of those difficult things, those moments where you had to make a decision? Do I stop here or do I keep going? Were there those times, and how did you deal with them?
I guess some of the biggest obstacles in the past for me, I was working in a group. I was working in a collective, and I was collaborating with a bunch of different individuals, helping them get their projects together, my own project, working with a bunch of different personalities. And it was several years ago, things were going great. And then for whatever reason, the people I was collaborating with had a change of heart. Most notably, I was in the duo, and we didn't see eye to eye on the direction of the group, and our group ended up folding as a result of that. And there were a lot of question marks around whether or not music was still something that was a viable option for me as far as taking it to the next level. Of course, we all love what we do. A lot of people have hobbies and things to that nature, but for me, it's a lot more than just, something to do for fun. It's something I'm passionate about, and something I believe in my heart of hearts. I believe I have something worthy of saying. So I guess the biggest thing was, like, beyond financial issues, which I guess come into play with everyone's life, but just being determined to keep on going if other people don't want to accompany you on that ride was the biggest thing for me.
Well, that's wonderful. And, I guess it's also hard sometimes to discern who the people are that you should be on the ride with versus those who you really shouldn't be on the ride with, and then making the decision to let those go who can't help you get where you need to go.
Exactly.
Well, I really appreciate you joining the call, and we hope that you will stay with us throughout our journey as we follow you through yours to make sure that we do create the 1 million African-American entrepreneurs in this country, many of whom will be modeled right after you, because you're an example of what we're trying to create and inspire in others. And I hope that many will hear your story and be inspired to do their own entrepreneurial venture as a result of what you've put into doing with this project and maybe others that you will get involved in the future. So I just want to thank you for joining us, and we'll be in touch. We'll stay together, okay?
Okay. Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye-bye. So, Norm, I'll turn it back over to you.
Okay, wow. Thanks, Art. You just heard Mr. H. Art Taylor, Chairman of OIC of America. This is the OIC 10 Entrepreneur Champions Weekly Conference Call, and we're continuing the work of the Reverend Leon H. Sullivan, who has a birthday coming up on October 16th. He was born in 1922. He's the founder of OIC, and it's interesting. I would encourage everyone to get a copy of Build, Brother, Build, because on the jacket of the book, you'll see it says, From Poverty to Economic Power, and that is just as relevant a need today as it was when it was written. So as we continue this call, I mentioned at the beginning the 3 objectives: a campaign to create an entrepreneur movement, the establishment of an endowment, and then training and micro-lending programs. I'm going to turn it over to the national director of this initiative, Mr. Stanley Green. He's going to talk to us about the endowment and what that means, and how we go about raising the first $10 million and then ultimately $100 million to support the objectives of this campaign over many generations. Stan?
Thanks, Norm. And
okay.
Welcome everyone, and Andre, good job. The endowment. Part of our challenge as an African American community is harnessing the real power that exists in this country and in the world, and that is financial power. When we talk about starting a business, we're talking about ultimately being self-sufficient and having enough financial clout generated on our own, as opposed to depending on someone else for our financial well-being, that we can live with confidence and do the things that we need to do. But in a bigger sense, in a bigger context, we have a challenge. While we may have double-digit unemployment, in our community, the spending level has gone from $30 billion in 1968 to now over $900 billion. Yet, as a community, we're no better off than we were, over 45 years ago. So the question is, what do we do? And so we're at OIC. We're not just going to wait and hope that somebody has an answer. We've come up with the bold response. But we recognize that it's just as the change our mindset to be more entrepreneurial, there needs to be a major shift in the mindset for our people to trust each other, to take small amounts of money, just as we've done in the past with the Obama campaign and with various other initiatives, but to pool our capital so that we can in turn be self-sufficient. It's easier said than done. It's not going to happen over the next 6 months. It may not happen over the next 6 years. But we need to begin that conversation, but most important, take action. And here's what we expect to do. We want to, and this is big and bold, at least in our community, create an endowment, $100 million endowment. When we say endowment, what that means is that the $100 million won't be spent. Usually in our community, we think, hey, if somebody talks about winning a lottery and gets $5 million, what do? We think about all the things that we can buy. We think about all the things that we can do, money we can give away to relatives and friends, and then before you know it, the $5 million is gone. And that's our mindset. But we have to change that so that we think about money that works for us. So in an endowment, the money actually does the work. You don't touch the money. The money is invested, and it's generating income so that you use the income off the what's called capital base in this case, $100 million, if we're just getting a 3% return, in other words, it generates 3% interest or 3% return, then that's $3 million a year forever. And would the $100 million be diminished by $3 million each year? No, it wouldn't. Because, just as you and we get interest on our checking or savings accounts, and while that may only be a couple of dollars, it's still interest. But think, if it's a $100 million and you're getting 3%, that's $3 million a year. And we expect them to use the $3 million to fund the initiative. That's the concept. But it's something that I can venture to say that such an endowment does not exist in the African American community. But by contrast, in other communities, it is billions and billions of dollars in organizations that's generating interest. So how do we raise it? We want to do it the old-fashioned way, but using 21st century techniques. We want to do it the way Reverend Sullivan did back in the 60s to create and fund Progress Plaza. We want to get 1 million people across the country, starting with the people on this call tonight, if you haven't done it, to donate just $10 one time. And that's $10 million. Then we want to go to wealthy individuals and foundations and get them to match that $10 million. We get 9 of them to match. That's $90 million plus the original 10 that we raised in our community, which is $100 million. So how do we start? We start small. Here's what you need to do. Do this yourselves and tell your friends to text message $10 to the letters OIC and the number 41010. So you text OIC to the number 41010. Remember, OIC to 41010. You can also go on the website, oicofamerica.org, and donate $10 or more there. Or you can send it to us at 1415 North Broad Street, Suite 227, Philadelphia, PA, and the zip code is 19122. That's 19122. Okay, so take action now, and we can make this thing happen. The sooner we do it, the sooner we get there, the sooner we can really make a difference in our community. Norm?
Thanks, Dan. And as was mentioned, he said we, as a community, spend a lot of money. And, in fact, there was a report that just came out that said that the African-American consumer spending is projected to reach $1.1 trillion by 2015. That is according to Nielsen and the NMPA, or the Black Press of America. So if you think about $1.1 trillion, if only 1% of that, talking about $1 out of every 100, was to come back to the black community, that would be about $11 billion recycling with just $1 out of every 100. So is it possible to raise $100 million? Absolutely. And as was mentioned, baby steps. You can text OIC to 41010 to get started. You can also spread the word about this call, about what you've heard tonight. We'll be back on the call on next Thursday at 9 p.m. In the meantime, you can also visit our website at www.oicofamerica.org to stay in touch with us throughout the week. You can also go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/OIC of America. Like our page, leave a message, post a link or a comment, and most importantly, help spread the word about this movement so that as fast as possible, we're able to get the 1 million people who will donate a simple $10 that will lead us to $100 million. So we want to thank everyone for joining us. We'll talk with you again on next Thursday. And in the meantime, be sure to visit our Facebook page or any of our social media connections for more information. Have a great evening and a great week.